Good afternoon, everybody. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Supervisor Wareheim,
Here.
Councilman McCarthy,
Here.
Councilwoman Noack,
Here.
Councilwoman Inzarella. Not here. Councilman Loman.
Yeah. Okay, this afternoon, we will start off, we have two site plans. Mr. Trotter, you're going to present?
Good afternoon, Supervisor, members of the Town Board. I'm Liam Trotta with the Planning Department, and we have two site plans for the Board to consider, acting as the Board of Site Plan Review. The first application is called Wu Medical Office Building. It's located on the west side of Alexander Avenue in between Wisconsin Highway and Middle Country Road. The proposals for the demolition of two existing dwellings and the construction of a 4,140 square foot, one-story medical office building and associated site work. The applicant has agreed to 4 conditions of approval. The first, that they obtain applicable building permits from the Town Building Department. The second, that they install a tree preservation fence around all trees to be preserved on site. The third condition is that they obtain a road opening permit from the Town Highway Department for a new curb cut and improvements along Alexander Avenue. And the last condition is that the applicant must obtain a cross-access easement agreement with the adjacent property to the north. This is kind of like the second phase of the development. The site just directly to the north was developed with the one-story medical office building. They're kind of mirroring that for this new project. As you can see, the parking behind the building will connect to the existing parking lot just to the north. And these are the proposed elevation plans for the building. Does the board have any questions for this project?
You're going to have cross-access between both sites?
For the parking on both sites, correct.
Okay. Any other questions by the board? No. Thank you.
Okay. The next application is Safeguard Self-Storage. The site is located on the north side of Middle Country Road, just east of Sunny Road. And the proposals for the demolition of 2 existing buildings and the construction of a 62,436 square foot, 3-story mini storage warehouse, plus a 21,272 square foot cellar with associated site work. The applicant has agreed to 4 conditions of site plan approval. The first condition is that they obtain applicable building permits from the Town Building Department, and that signage is not part of this site plan approval. The second condition is that the applicant shall install an orange tree preservation fence around all trees to be preserved on site. The third condition is that the applicant obtain a highway work permit from the state DOT for a new curb cut and improvements along Middle Country Road, and that they submit the DOT application and work permit plans to the engineering department prior to a building permit. And the last condition is that the site plan approval shall be subject to the conditions of approval and covenants of the Board of Zoning Appeals stated in case number 18346. So this is the site. The site is actually split zones, so the first 200 feet off Middle Country Road is zoned WSI, and that would be where the building would be located. And the remaining residentially zoned area, which is 3.87 acres, is going to be sterilized from any future development. So this is the overall site plan. As you can see, it's a pretty unusual shaped property, extends pretty far north, but again, all the development will happen within the WSI portion of the property. This is an enlarged site plan and proposed renderings. Does the board have any questions?
Okay, any questions by the board? No. Nothing. Thank you, Mr. Trotter.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move to the agenda. Deputy Clerk?
Okay, we have 3 items in correspondence. The first is the Building Department report from June. The second is the St. James Fire District September 11th Memorial Ceremony. And the last is a famous food festival, food truck market at Smith Haven Mall on weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, between October 1st and November 7th. And then we'll move on to a public hearing. The first is to consider, first and only, is to consider the town's entry onto property located at 2 Petone Drive in Comac. for violations of Smithtown Code Chapter 221. Simone Vogany, Assistant Town Attorney, will describe the violation.
Good afternoon, Mr. Supervisor, members of the Town Board. I'm Simone Vogany, one of the Assistant Town Attorneys for the Town of Smithtown. The purpose of today's public hearing, number one, is for the Town Board to determine whether or not to enter the property located at 2 Petone Drive, Comac, for the purposes of cleaning up violations of our property maintenance code of Chapter 221 of the site. What we have here today are 4 photographs that were taken this past Friday, September 3rd, by our Public Safety Department. The investigator went out yesterday morning and confirmed that nothing has changed since those photos were taken this past Friday. As you can see in the first picture, the roof is in disrepair. There are also issues with the soffit and gutters. And for the second picture, you can see there's a pile of bricks here and debris and overgrown vegetation. Picture number 3 reflects how overgrown the property is. And picture number 4 demonstrates, it shows the old fencing right back here that runs along the property line that's falling down, and there's tree limbs and, again, overgrown nature of the property. This property is a little over 1/4 of an acre, and the owner of this property was Jerry Cohn, but he passed away. The date of death was February 2nd, 2014. According to the letters testamentary, the fiduciaries appointed are Ariel Accaberry and Adam Accaberry. My office has had several conversations with the brothers here who are inheriting the property. They can't come to an agreement as to what to do with the property. One brother wants to fix it, the other one wants to live in it. And another brother, there's actually a third one that's involved that complicates the matter, that just wants to sell it and divide the money. This subject property has been an open district court matter since July of 2014. We've tried to work with the Accaberrys, and they have been put on notice numerous times that the town will intervene to clean up the property if they don't try to repair this disrepair. And they're just too busy fighting amongst themselves. So accordingly, based on the poor conditions of the property, it would be the town attorney's office recommendation that we adopt this resolution today to enter onto this property to clean it up. Do we have any questions?
Have they been paying the taxes?
Yes, they're up to date on their taxes.
And this has been going on since 2014?
Yes.
Is there a mortgage on this, or the bank is involved?
I don't have that information. I don't believe so. They inherit the property, but the issue is that the brothers here, 3 of them, they're on different pages in terms of what to do, and they spend most of their time arguing, even though I've sent them many notices and conversations, and they had told me that they had gotten estimates, and the one brother wants to do a huge renovation on the property, but he can't seem to make headway, as there's 2 fiduciaries appointed to this property, and they're bumping heads. So it's a problem.
Thank you.
Any other questions by the board? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to be heard on this public hearing?
Well, there's a resolution.
I'll move
Further-
move to close the hearing.
Supervisor Wareheim,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes,
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman Lohman.
Yes.
and I move to adopt that public hearing as read today, number
It's-
19-421.
Second.
Okay. Supervisor Wareheim,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes,
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman Lohman.
Yes.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
We will move on. Before you start, Deputy Clerk will explain, but for the folks in the audience and those listening at home, unfortunately, due to the Delta variant, at this point, Governor Hochul has an executive order The public hearings will be going back to being held via Zoom. That will be exactly the same way that we're doing it before. So Deputy Clerk will explain about these advertisements for public hearings, but just want the public to know our future meetings, public hearings, and board meetings will be held again via Zoom until further notice. Deputy Clerk?
Okay. So we have 3 advertisements for public hearings, and as the supervisor said, despite what's described on the agenda, due to the governor's new executive order, they'll all be held via Zoom video conferencing at 2 o'clock. The first one is for the town board to consider Chapter 320 of the Town Code entitled Local Opt-out pursuant to Chapter 131 of the New York State Cannabis Law, and that will be held on Thursday, September 23rd. The second is on Tuesday, October 5th, to consider the town's entry onto property located at 18 Northfield Drive in Fort Salonga for the purposes of removing violations of the Property Maintenance Code, Chapter 221. And the last is also on September 23rd at 2 o'clock to consider special exception petition 2021-01 as submitted by Smithtown Venture for a modification of a special exception use in order to permit a game center in a shopping center. The property is located on the west side of Vets Memorial Highway, 900 feet west of Sunken Meadow Parkway.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehan.
Yes.
On the consent agenda, we have items 1 to 22 for the controller and 1 to 4 on resolutions.
Is there anyone on the town board that wishes to remove any resolutions from the consent agenda?
No, thank you.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehan.
Yes.
For resolutions, the town board to issue a CEQA negative declaration determination of non-significance in the matter of the application for site plan approval by Colleen Perrone, WSJS Architects for WU Medical Office Building, and in the matter of the application for site plan approval by Safeguard Self Storage for Safeguard Self Storage, and the location is on Middle Country Road, east of Sunny Road in St. James.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehan.
Yes.
Authorize the town clerk to advertise for the following bids. Bid 2177 for screen sand for ice and snow control, 2178 to print the recycling calendars, and 2181 drainage improvements on Evergreen Avenue and Gedney Avenue in Smithtown.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehan.
Yes.
Award the following bids and authorize the purchase of the associated goods and services. Bid 2169, the annual supply bid for polyethylene bags to Central Polybag Corporation. Reaward of bid 2159, Class 3 only, for annual requirements contract to Kelly and Hayes Electrical Supply Company, and to approve revised bid summary of award dated 9/7/21. And bid 21066 for cast iron drainage items to American Cast Iron Products Incorporated and Roman Stone Construction Company.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehan.
Yes.
The town board to approve the following. Ratification of the execution of an amendment to the CSEA Collective Bargaining Agreement Full-Time Unit regarding employee choice of compensatory time or overtime pay. The town attorney or appropriate official to enter into a stipulation of settlement or agreement and a consent to the entry of an order with regard to various tax tertiary matters per the recommendation of the sole assessor and the town attorney. Ratification of the supervisor's signature on a special event permit, New York State Liquor Authority Landlord Authorization Form on behalf of Joseph Schaefer of WE Host LLC for a private event on August 28th at Schubert's Beach. Extension of bid 1889, processing and recycling of yard waste with Trinity Transportation Corp. Purchase of electronic imaging services from the New York State Industries for the disabled, and to further authorize the supervisor to sign any associated paperwork required by the granting agency. The Parks Department to purchase a side-by-side utility vehicle from Deere and Company. Rescission of Resolution 2021-700 of the Town Board meeting held on August 10th, 2021 as it pertains to the award of bid 2159 Class 3 to Best LED Group. Amend Resolution 2021-333 adopted by the Town Board on April 6th to adjust the Town Controller's salary to $157,183.02 effective May 7th, 2021. An amendment to the 2021 Highway Road Program to add Old 25A and Meadow Lane in Fort Salonga. Declare the subdivision known as Parnell Estates in default and authorize the controller to release the funds in escrow to the town departments as necessary to complete the site development work. The next item was already approved on by the town board. It was to approve the resolution for the Tony Drive. Next is pursuant to the public hearing held by the town board on August 10th, 2021 for property located at 306 3rd Avenue in St. James, owned by Carl Walls. The town board hereby declares said site in violation of Chapter 221 and 322 of the Town Code and hereby authorizes the town to enter upon said property for the purpose of removing and/or remediating the violations.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehouse.
Yes.
The town board to issue a written consistency determination pursuant to Chapter 151 of the Town Code for two applications. The first is an application 2019-15A for John Lovett, and the second is an application 2021-12 from Property Management LLC, 521 West Jericho Turnpike. All is consistent with the LWRP, subject to conditions as stated in a memo from the Town Planning Director.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehouse.
Yes.
Approve special exception 2020-01 as submitted by Island Tennis, which is Tennis Time, located on the west side of Old Indian Head Road, south of Indian Head Road in Kings Park, for a modification of a special exception use in order to permit the bubble on the property to remain year-round and widen the existing curb cut on Old Indian Head Road, subject to the conditions as stated in a memorandum from the Planning Director.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehouse.
Yes.
Authorize the acceptance of a pool donated for recreational use for shelter dogs, donated by Rescue Rocks to the animal shelter.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehouse.
Yes.
Authorize the supervisor to execute the following resolutions on a form approved by the town attorney. A lease agreement with Michelle Mangino for Hardin Sawmill Preserve House for a period of 1 year at a monthly rate of $1,503. An agreement with RNC Environmental Geology to provide groundwater sampling analysis and reporting for wells at the former Montclair Avenue landfill. Professional service agreement with PW Grosser Consulting for performing stockpile sampling services at the Smithtown Highway Yard located at Montclair Avenue in St. James in an amount not to exceed $8,500. An agreement with Newport Engineering to provide professional design services for the construction of a wood frame canopy structure at Paul J. Fitzpatrick Smithtown Landing Country Club. Agreement with Landscape Structures to furnish and install playground equipment and safety surface at East Hills Park. An intermunicipal agreement with the town of Brookhaven regarding an economic assessment of glass recycling options at a cost not to exceed $10,325. An agreement concerning the Broadley Avenue Development Company, construction of a roadway over and upon town property situated at 584 Middle Country Road in St. James. And the last is a lease purchase agreement with H.O. Penn Machinery Company for 1 year for a new 2021 Caterpillar excavator.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehouse.
Yes.
Personnel issues, number 1 to 5, as described on the agenda.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehouse.
Yes.
And we have
One read on?
one read-on for the town board to approve an updated COVID-19 vaccination or mask policy for the protection of town employees.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehouse.
Where's the
Yes.
read on? What is it?
Sitting as a Board of Site Plan Review, we have 2 site plans to vote on.
And we have the site plan minutes of June 8th. Conditionally approve the site plan for WU Office Building Number 2 for a proposed demolition of 2 existing dwellings and the construction of a 4,140 square foot, 1-story medical building with associated site work. The location is the west side of Alexander Avenue in St. James. The second one is to conditionally approve the site plan for Safeguard Self-Storage for a proposed demolition of 2 existing buildings and the constructions of a 62,436 square foot, 3-story mini storage warehouse with a 21,272 square foot cellar and associated site work, and the location is Middle Country Road, 315 feet east of Sunny Road. Both were described at the beginning of the meeting by Liam from our planning department.
Councilman Lohman,
Yes.
Councilman Minogue,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Wareham.
Yes. That concludes our agenda for today. We will open the floor for public comment. Please be mindful, public participation is subject to the rules of decorum which you have on your speaker cards as per Town Code Section 76.7. Public portion is for town-related matters only. Any unsubstantiated, unverified, or material false information will be interrupted. The 3-minute rule will be strictly enforced. When you hear the tone, you have 1 minute to wrap up your statement. Give us your name and address, please, and please address the town board.
Susan Halleck?
Hi, my name is Susan Halleck. I reside at 99 Sunny Road in St. James, New York, and I wanted to speak about the storage unit that is going in. I realized they mentioned that the property behind the actual site building itself was going to be sterilized. Please ignore my ignorance. I don't know what that means. Does that mean that they're going to still put the, they were speaking about putting in a passway through there so emergency vehicles could get by? Or does that mean that they're just going to leave the 3.82 acres behind the building itself alone? I'm just not sure.
That's okay. I'm gonna let Mr. Trotter address that. I believe the sterilization is, nothing can be built back there at any time. It remains residential property to protect the residents there. Everything will be developed in the WSI up towards Jericho. Am I correct?
Correct. There's a small portion that extends beyond the residential zoning boundary line, but it's only going to be for parking stalls and an emergency access turnaround for.
Could I ask, I'm sorry, but could I ask to see where that is? I just, again, I'm thinking blocks and roads. I don't understand.
You want
How
to
far?
take that to here?
Yeah.
Well, I would like to see because my house is directly behind there, and that's
Sure.
really what we're concerned
Well,
with.
as soon as we're completed here, why don't you see Mr. Trotter? He can show you
Okay.
exactly where that's at.
I also have a question, if they did an environmental impact study was required for this? I see that you were going to, or if I read it correctly, that you were gonna bypass that one was necessary. I just wanted to let you know there were box turtles in the area, there are lady slipper, New York State protected flowers back there, we have deer in the backyard, I mean, like everybody else. But we have an abundance of nature back there that we're losing slowly to the town. And based on everything we were seeing earlier today, it looks like they want us to preserve the town and keep it looking nice. We just want to keep our yards looking nice too and have that, freedom of nature in our backyards.
Sure.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, Donna Myers?
I was only to speak if there were questions on the 11th pier.
Okay, that's it.
That's all?
Yep.
Okay, that concludes our board meeting for today. Thank you all for attending. Please stay safe. I move to close the meeting.
Second.
Supervisor Wareham,
Yes?
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilman Minogue,
Yes.
Councilman Lohman.
Yes.